Earlier this year, the legislature declared the Picon Punch the official cocktail of Nevada. But here's the thing, that's a northern Nevada drink, and it's damn near impossible to find in Las Vegas. So that got us thinking, what should the official cocktail of Las Vegas be? Today on CityCast Las Vegas, we posed this question to two of the city's best bartenders, Jonah Gibbs at Petite Boheme and Jennifer Yim from the Cosmopolitan. Our co-host Dayvid Figler and our newsletter editor Rob Kachelreiss went out to sample their contenders for the best, most iconic Las Vegas cocktail. It's Thursday, December 4th. I'm Sonia Cho Swanson, and here's what Las Vegas is talking about. Rob, Dayvid, hello.
Yes.
Hello. I love
Hi.
this job. We get to day drink.
You know, some call it day drinking. We call it research.
Research, exactly.
And it's funny because I think the last time I was on the pod was to talk about the best margaritas in Vegas.
Oh my gosh, I'm sensing a theme here.
And I do recall also an adventure to a dispensary lounge with you,
That's
Rob.
true.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and then we had the oldest bar crawl, too.
Yeah, not so mocky mocktails at that THC lounge.
I think we do research right over here at CityCast Las Vegas.
Yes. Or there's a disturbing pattern with Rob that we need to address.
I approve
Less a
of this.
podcast and more of an intervention right now.
Yes.
Rob, we love you.
Please slam my laptop closed.
But on
and
that
take control.
note, I want to circle back to the Picon Punch because I'm a little bewildered about why it's so hard to find in Las Vegas. Tell us, is it actually good?
It might depend who you are and where you go. Picon Punch is very popular in northern Nevada, and that's because there's a legacy of Basque immigration there. For those who don't know, Basque Country is sort of in between Spain and France. It's not really a designated land as far as territory or anything like that. But the Basque community ended up in certain parts of the West, especially northern Nevada, not so much in southern Nevada, but along the way, they developed an affection for a drink called Picon Punch. And just to give you an idea of what it's about, it's kind of a stiff cocktail served on the rocks, usually in a bell-shaped glass. It's a little bit of an acquired taste.
Herbal.
Herbal, well,
Herbal,
it comes
yeah.
from this burnt
Gasoline-y.
orange
Gasoline,
aperitif.
that's a stretch.
Yeah, so you kind of have this burnt orange flavor from something called Pecan, and that's a whole nother story because people are now using substitutes for that. But you add a little brandy, a little bit of grenadine, which I'm not a big fan of, but a lemon peel garnish, and sometimes, depending on where you go, they might top it off with a little bit of club soda.
Okay. But here's my question. Why is it so hard to find in Las Vegas? And so it's clearly got roots in northern Nevada, but somehow it never really made inroads in southern Nevada.
Well, we don't really have any Basque restaurants in Las Vegas. I mean, that's a whole nother episode that we could talk about itself, but it's a very distinctive style of dining. It's very communal. And Picon Punch, that's the tradition at these restaurants. We just don't have that down here in Vegas.
I know, Sonia, you've been up to Elko as I have, and we both tend to make a beeline for the Star, which is a
I thought you were going to say the
Basque-
brothels.
Well, come on. No, it's a storied Basque restaurant, really amazing food, all served family style, a lot of lamb and whatnot, because that is traditional. But I always get at least one Picon Punch at the bar because I have acquired the taste for it. And I also follow the adage that I was told upon my first entry into this cocktail, which is 1 is not enough and 3 is way too many, because it is a
I
stiff
remember
drink,
that.
as Rob said.
Oh, so 2's the sweet spot.
Yeah, exactly.
2 and a change.
So to make it clear, we all share an affection for the Picon Punch. I celebrate its stature as the official cocktail of Nevada. But I don't know about y'all. I think we're feeling a little underrepresented down here in Southern Nevada with our, official cocktail status. What are some ground rules you think for an official Las Vegas cocktail? How do we establish? Is it
I
the
think
most
we have to
delicious?
think about what's Las Vegas all about? What really, captures our essence? What could we contribute if there was a contest to submit a cocktail that represents Vegas to become the official state cocktail of Nevada? And I was thinking of some different things. I was thinking about maybe the yard-long margarita that you see on the Strip.
That's a good one.
I was thinking maybe ass juice from the Double
Okay.
Down Saloon.
Or a classic martini. Oscar Griffin's
classic
style.
martini. Shrimp cocktail is synonymous with Las Vegas. What if we had a Bloody Mary with a shrimp cocktail garnish and a little
Rob,
sauce mixed in?
I've seen all
That's
the things that
brilliant.
you've mentioned through my journeys amongst the bars of Las Vegas and restaurants of Las Vegas. So
Right. So let's, if Vegas doesn't get enough attention for drinking,
Right.
something's wrong. So that's what this whole thing is about. We're going to do something about this and get some Vegas representation.
There we go. There we
it's
go.
always going to come down to the storytelling. Why does this fit in? Why does this represent? But I have to add, it also, in the words of Paul Hollywood, it has to taste good and not just look good.
Oh, really?
Bingo. Great British Bake Off for those in the know. So y'all actually got a chance to go out to Jonah Gibbs' bar.
Right. Research.
Petite Boheme. He hosted y'all plus Jennifer Yim.
Yes, the sweet little cocktail lounge behind Bar Boheme, part of that
Yeah.
James Trees empire.
I am so jealous. What happened when y'all went there? What was the first cocktail? What was the first contender?
So Jen got the contest started off like a good party with her variation on a Vegas bomb.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so Vegas bomb, everyone has their own bomb, I think. I think it's very common.
Yeah,
You get the
soju
Irish
bomb.
Yeah, whatever.
Uh-huh.
So when she first moved to Las Vegas like 10 years ago, she noticed people were often ordering this thing called the Vegas bomb. And so she had to ask a coworker how to make it. Basically, it's a shot, equal part Crown Royal peach, splash of cranberry juice, and then with a bunch of like energy drink or Red Bull or whatever.
Oh my goodness.
So it basically tastes like a peach flavored energy drink. And apparently it's very popular in Las Vegas. She really highlights the Vegas bomb as like the opening salvo of the bomb shot era in nightclubs. And I think that it's something to do with Rob, you probably know more about this than I do, that they used to really push Crown Royal as a premium whiskey up in the VIP areas.
Yeah, this is from the era before we really started caring about our spirits and getting some good quality into these cocktails.
Okay.
No offense to anybody who likes that stuff. But with the Vegas bomb, this is something you can sip on at a day club, at a nightclub, just wandering down the street, not putting too much thought into
are people
something.
sipping bombs now? Is that what's happening?
I don't know about
You can
that.
sip it, you can shoot it, but part of the presentation is that there's the cocktail, then there's like the shot that has part of it in there, and then you pull up the shot glass inside the bigger glass, and it all kind of reveals itself. It's very fancy.
It mixes.
It's
yeah.
a little
very good
visual
for
too.
Oh, you're talking about for Jen's reimagining of the bomb. The original
although
bombs people would just chug, but you're talking about her elevated version as a more sippable version.
I think there was a version of, she was doing a play on that older presentation. Hers was a
Gotcha.
little fancier.
Well, let's hear from Jen.
Today I created an elevated, cleaner version of the Vegas bomb for the modern city we live in now. Mine uses Crown Royal Peach with lemon and peach puree that's been clarified with cranberry milk and dropped into a sparkling peach oolong tea that delivers that same lift as the energy drink, but naturally with electrolytes to help prevent those dreaded hangovers.
Okay, so I wasn't there to taste it, but y'all were. What'd you think?
I'm in love with it.
Really?
I literally said when I gulped it,
Wow.
I could drink a pitcher of this, and somebody
Wow.
stopped me. It was just really smooth and clean and tasty. I do like peach, but it wasn't like sickly sweet, snappily peach. It was
It's like if Snapple was good
Oh,
yeah,
and a
It
little
wa-
boozy.
yeah. What if Snapple went to finishing school?
love it. All right, so what's the next cocktail? Whose cocktail are we pitching next?
Well, let's go from one bomb to another.
Okay.
So Jonah made the atomic cocktail, or his version of it. So if you think back to when the atomic age was all the rage in
yeah.
Las Vegas, where we'd sit on rooftops and watch atomic bombs go off in the desert and call that fun.
Speaking of bombs,
Well, not us. We're not that old. Not us.
Well,
but
I feel that old sometimes, but my era is more the underground and 90s detonations.
yeah.
So the classic atomic cocktail, it's a little mixture of like brandy, vodka, sherry, and just, poured into a coupe glass.
Boozy.
And, it's something that really matches, that elegance of the time where we were in love with nuclear weapons.
It's a very defining era for Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
and I've actually seen the the traditional atomic cocktail, listed in some places as sort of the unofficial drink of Las Vegas or even the whole state. But I don't really see it out too often.
Yeah, but you don't see it that much anymore. But I should also point out it's topped with bubbles, a little bit of sparkling wine or champagne, and an orange peel. So it very much looks and presents like a classic craft cocktail.
What was Jonah's take on it?
So Jonah wanted to mix up the vodka. He didn't want like a sterile, ethanol-forward cocktail. He wanted something that had a little bit of character to it and add, his own take on it with a certain kind of sherry. And he actually ended up doing 2 versions of this.
Let's hear from Jonah.
So the first iteration is closer to the original cocktail from the 50s. We did add a little bit of our house-made Picon, but it's still a little bit dry and has a little bit more salinity than I think would be approachable for most people. The second one, we went entirely with Amontillado sherry instead of Fino sherry. So it has a nuttier profile and a little bit more orange flavor profile coming through.
So what I love about a good bartender is when you're kind of creating something on the spot, you can kind of do a little trial and error and see, okay, what works, what doesn't. So funny enough, Jonah ended up adding his own version of Amer Picon that is made in-house at Petite Boheme.
Whoa.
So it's a certain orange liqueur mixed with Fernet. So you know how bitter Fernet is.
Yeah.
So it's like one of those things, you get the balance right, the sweet, the bitterness, and then I think he switched out the sherry and just kind of changed things around. And at the end of the day, we had this very beautiful looking cocktail, and that had a very kind of dry but flavorful taste to it. And Dayvid, I'm wondering what you thought after sampling both versions of this cocktail, this take on the atomic cocktail.
Yeah. So what I was presented with 2 very beautiful cocktails. They're both intriguing. I was very interested as a baseline because I had never actually been served an atomic cocktail. So I went for that one first. Delicious. Worth all the accolades through the years. So then I dove right into Jonah's variation. I was a little confused because it was definitely a mashup. And I mean, maybe if you're looking for something that's a little more inclusive of the whole state, it was a little bit country and a little bit rock and roll. It was a little bit Northern Nevada and a little bit Vegas. I didn't like it initially, but boy, I think Rob and I both really fell into it in short order.
Grew on
It's one of those drinks, the more you sip it, the more you appreciate it. And the final version had a little bit of nuttiness to it that I thought worked very well. I would also do it maybe like a Manhattan on the rocks. I would pour it into a rocks glass with some ice cubes. That would be the way I would modify it.
Nothing says 'tis the season in Las Vegas like the Magical Forest at Opportunity Village. In its 33rd season, tickets are on sale now, and they include unlimited rides, mini golf, the Magical Forest Holiday Lights walking path, and trips on the Forest Express train. You'll see Santa there and have an opportunity to get gifts, goodies, and treats throughout the season at the holiday shop, with a beer garden open select nights for the 21 and over crowd. Tickets for the Magical Forest are on sale at www.magicalforest.com. As one of the primary fundraisers for Opportunity Village, attending the Magical Forest directly supports people with disabilities in Southern Nevada. The Magical Forest at Opportunity Village is open every evening from December 4th through the 7th, the 11th through the 24th, and the 26th through the 31st. Get more details and purchase tickets at www.magicalforest.com and stay updated by following the event's social media accounts on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at MagicalForestOV.
All right, so that's contender number 2. Let's move on to contender number 3. What was the third cocktail?
Yeah, so the task was also left to us amateurs. So me, Rob, and Sarah Lohman from this podcast. And we all kind of gave concepts to our bartender friends, and they followed our lead, and then they made up those cocktails upon request.
Nice.
So I came to the table with the classic champagne cocktail.
Ooh. Wait, why? Okay, first of all, I love a champagne cocktail, but why is this so Vegas?
Okay. So to me, it all goes back to when I was first introduced to the champagne cocktail as kind of a Vegas-y thing. And that was at an old school bar off of Flamingo near Maryland called the Elephant Bar.
Oh,
And
no
the
longer
Elephant-
there, huh?
Oh,
I know
no,
that
not for decades.
Okay.
But it was one of those kind of mainstay. They had a little loungy performance, whatever. And oftentimes there would be an attractive woman sitting at the bar. She was just like stunning, dressed to the hilt, by herself, with a cigarette in her hand, waving it around. And then she would catch someone's eye at the end of the bar. The bartender would come over and says, the person at the end of the bar would like to buy you a cocktail. And what would you like? And the answer almost invariably was, give me a champagne cocktail. And it is just a classic. It is basic as hell, but also like
What's
a
in
little
it?
fun. So the classic ingredients is basically a sugar cube that is sort of marinated in Angostura bitters, and then it's put into a champagne fluke and filled with like a nice dry brut. And if you're extra classy, you could throw a little cognac on there. And I
Okay.
did request that in my champagne cocktail. I was given some options, and I, of course, went with a Remy Martin because nothing says you're super classy than a little Remy Martin in the float.
Yeah,
Okay.
before you add the Remy, it's really almost like you're doing an old-fashioned, but with champagne instead of bourbon.
With champagne, yeah.
Yeah.
And a little less fruit. But yeah, it's just, all things Vegas to me. It's just, over the top and also really simple.
Yeah.
And then, it's garnished with a lemon peel. Absolutely delicious. And Jonah threw it together, came out wonderful, just as requested.
Yeah, I like this one too, a little more than I thought I might. Who knew
Okay.
bitters work so well in champagne? And champagne cocktails, from what I understand, were a favorite of Bugsy Siegel. So another Vegas tie to put this cocktail into contention. I thought it was very good.
Nice. Okay, so we've got our fourth contender, and this one comes from co-host Sarah Lohman, who, by the way, I do want to give her a shout out. This episode was actually her idea when she heard about the official state cocktail. And sadly, she's been out of town, so she wasn't able to make it to the cocktail making event. But shout out Sarah for the great idea and her cocktail pitch. So what was Sarah's cocktail?
Well, how about this? I'll step in and play the role of Sarah Lohman, if everybody's okay with that.
Hi, Sarah.
Yes. Hi, Sarah.
So Sarah is always fun, always playful. So she wanted a Shirley Temple, because there's nothing like being a kid in Las Vegas and ordering a Shirley Temple
And
when they let
pretending
you
you're
in
an
the...
adult.
Exactly. So
Yes,
you get
yes.
to go to the bar, walk up to the bar.
So
I
we
remember getting a drink and getting the little red plastic straw in my Shirley Temple.
Right. So Jen took charge on this one. She came up with a adult Shirley Temple on the spot. That was her name for it. We also suggested calling the cocktail a Shirley Temple Black, because that's the name of Shirley Temple as an adult.
Huh.
Also, Shirley Temple Pilots.
That's what we settled on, I think.
That's hilarious. Amazing.
Yeah. So I think, and actually this was kind of like the sleeper hit. So Jen, instead of using, so we didn't even bother with grenadine. It's like grenadine and Sprite or whatever. We're not going to do that. We're adults here. So it was like 1.5 ounces of vodka. I think it was another ounce of Aperol. And then like some pomegranate juice. Who needs cherry when you have pomegranate juice? And then she topped it off with Sprite in a tall glass, like a Collins glass.
Sprite out of a bottle.
Right, not from the machine, from a glass bottle.
Yes.
And crushed ice. And you know what? The Sprite was almost like a float. It was almost like a splash of Sprite. So it wasn't the base that it would be for the kids' drink.
It was like what if Prosecco just decided to go on the wagon? It was very lovely.
And it was surprisingly good. I actually loved this. And this was probably the one I would have thought I would have enjoyed the least. And it was one of my favorites.
And Bar Boheme, because that was our, source material, has all sorts of beautiful garnishes. And they picked these, I don't know where these cherries came from, but the cherries in it were perfection with that drink.
Oh,
They were those dirty cherries, like not bright red,
love it.
kind of like a dark, deep
Deep
red.
wine-colored red. Love
Yes.
it. Love it. Oh my,
my
gosh,
God, Rob,
gorgeous.
that drink was so fun.
It
I
was.
really felt like whimsical and childish, but, acting the adult because I was drinking my booze.
Right. And like Jen's other drink, not too overly sweet. It was balanced just right.
Yeah, she's a great bartender.
Well, thanks for making me feel extra jealous. Let's round out this FOMO with cocktail number 5.
This is yours, Rob.
Oh, that's right. I did have to come up with something. So I was thinking of a few different things. What would be an old classic cocktail that maybe like mobsters and the Rat Pack would drink? And I was thinking of maybe like a rusty nail, which is kind of like scotch and drambuie, which they didn't have. But I was thinking, let's mix it up. Let's get some Nevada representation in the spirit.
Okay. All
So
right.
this is what we know about Rob. His favorite bourbon and rye is Frey
Frey
Ranch.
Ranch. I know
Which is
this.
Northern
we talk about Frey
Nevada.
Ranch all the time, Rob.
But distilled on a farm, all the crops, all the grains are from that same farm that's distilled on. This is 100% Nevada spirit from beginning to end. So guess what?
Okay.
They were all out of Frey Ranch at Petite Boheme. So we substituted something else, but let's
in your
play,
heart, the recipe is a Frey Ranch recipe.
let's
Okay.
play along and
Okay.
say that for official purposes, you would use Frey Ranch in this. So Rusty Nail was out of the question, but I said, let's do, here, I waffled. I went back. I said, let's do a Picon Punch. Let's get it right, but let's add some Vegas swagger to the Picon Punch. Let's call it Picon Punch Extreme, Supermax Picon Punch, whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
But what they did is they did, some different syrups. They did some lemon juice. The pomegranate juice actually came back in and made an appearance. And then, of course, that version of the Pecan Amer that they have in-house with that orange liqueur, the, what's the bitter liqueur that I keep forgetting about?
Angostura?
The Amaro?
Amaro?
The
No.
Fernet.
The Fernet, yes.
Okay.
So they mixed it all together in almost like a larger version of a bell-shaped glass, like a tulip glass that you might use
Cute.
for like a tiki cocktail or something.
Uh-huh.
But, just a nice touch, garnished with a dehydrated lemon wheel. And you know what? I think this could be like Vegas's claim to like a pecan punch. Let's get rid of that
what
brandy.
makes it Las Vegas, though? Here's my question, because you got the Northern Nevada Frey Ranch in there. You
Right.
got the Pecan Punch, again, not to Northern Nevada. Where's the Vegas in this?
All roads point back to bourbon. Let's
Okay.
be real Las Vegans. Let's go heavy on the bourbon. Let's have a nice, strong base spirit. And you know what? We're sharing the love. We have it sourced from Northern Nevada farms. We have it made here in Vegas with a little extra Vegas swagger. And it turned out great. I think it's better than a traditional pecan punch.
Oh.
So another mashup. And it was nice because it was a completely different direction from the other mashup.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you mentioned the dehydrated lemon wheel because I forgot on Jen's there was actually a garnish of a dehydrated blood orange wheel, which is fun too.
Okay.
I mean, it's kind of like any dehydrated garnish is absolutely Vegas-y. I mean, leave any citrus
That's
outside
true.
for 10 seconds here
desert.
and you're going to get a dehydrated whatever.
Well, most of us are drinking enough to be dehydrated, so it fits.
Yeah. All right. This is the final countdown. Do. You ready? What's your final pick? Out of all these 5 cocktails, 1, the elevated Vegas bomb. 2, the modernized atomic cocktail. 3, the champagne cocktail. 4, the alcoholic Shirley Temple. Or 5, Rob's Las Vegas Pecan Punch. What's the winner? David, who's your winner?
I mean, I have to say kudos to both of these amazing bartenders.
Absolutely.
I don't know
Okay.
if in lesser hands they would all be as
No,
delicious.
no, kumbaya here. What's your winner?
Well, no, that was a kumbaya because
Okay.
they were all really delicious. But if I had
Okay.
to pick one as the Vegas that has the story, that tastes good, that looks good, and everything
Yeah.
else, I have to go with Jen's version of the Vegas bomb.
Wow.
It was
Wow.
flashy, it looked beautiful, and it was smooth to taste. It was when you think it's going to be sweet, it was a little more mellow, and yeah, I get why it's a Vegas favorite.
Okay. Rob?
I should mention that while the Supermax Pecan Punch was a lot of fun, it was actually also a collaboration between both Jen and Jonah. They were making it together on the spot. And you know
Amazing.
what? That's one of those cool things about Vegas is that you go into things, you don't plan too much ahead, you go by feel. And Sonia, if you want to know why this is a Vegas cocktail, that's why it's a Vegas cocktail. 2 people meet, they
Yes.
collab, they
Okay.
share the best of both ideas,
And
they
it
come
turns
up with
into
a
a
great
dealer's
drink.
choice.
And you know what?
Oh.
I would like to have that as a staple. Just like the regular Picon Punch is a staple in Reno bars, I would like it to be a staple in Vegas bars. And you know what? If you go to Petite Boheme and ask for their version of a Picon Punch, they will do it for you. And actually, with some of these other cocktails, they'll do it for you as well. That's my top pick.
Okay. I obviously haven't tried any of these drinks here, but I would say just going on vibes, going on the storytelling, going on Rob's excellent photos, which, by the way, will be on our Instagram, CityCast Vegas. I gotta say, I am really intrigued by the alcoholic Shirley Temple. I'm a sucker for nostalgia.
Shirley Temple Pilots.
Shirley Temple Pilots. I grew up getting those Shirley Temples and feeling like such a cool big kid getting my drink from the bar with a little red straw. And, I'm so intrigued by this grown-up version.
Oh, my work here is done. I have infused with you a hyper appreciation of nostalgia.
Yes,
Sonia.
It's true, Dayvid.
I don't know that when you came to the podcast you had that, but I'm seeing it in you right now.
You know what? I will hoist that nostalgia flag to the end of time now. Yeah.
And you know what? I think if we were going to do if we were going to do some ranked choice voting, I think the Shirley Temple would have won. It's kind of the one everybody kind of agreed on, whether it was their favorite or not. Everybody really liked it.
All right, listeners, you too can vote. Head over to our socials, CityCast Vegas on Instagram. Rob will also be putting out a link to vote in his newsletter. And here's the really, really fun part. Jonah and Jen have agreed to offer these cocktails. I think with the exception of the Vegas Bomb, it's a little bit tricky to make that drink. But
so here's the deal. They'll make any of these for you at Petite Boheme, and with the exception of the Vegas Bomb, because they just don't quite have all those ingredients there for that. But the other ones you can all ask. They'll do a variation for it.
It's going to be a secret off menu. So ask for the CityCast cocktails.
Yes, if you're at LPM, ask. Jen said ask for her and she'll make something good for you. That's a little offbeat.
Nice. So make sure to go head over to Petite Boheme and LPM at the Cosmopolitan. Thank you again to those bartenders for participating and coming up with these brilliant cocktails. Go sample their wares, tip generously, and then go vote on our socials and the newsletter.
Cheers.
Cheers. All right, Dayvid,
Hiccup.
Rob, thank you so much. Hiccup. This was so much fun.
It was a lot of fun. This was a good assignment. Thank you. Keep them coming.
Okay. And that's all for today here on CityCast Las Vegas. If you enjoyed the show, if you want to try these drinks, go tell a friend, invite your friend out, rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our morning newsletter. Don't forget, you can support this show and get great perks by becoming a CityCast Las Vegas neighbor at membership.citycast.fm. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Take care.